I've never filmed a video like this before, but I thought it could be helpful, and I get a lot of questions about curling irons, tools, what is the best, fill in the blank. I know you use different products, but which is the best? And a lot of times that's a really hard question to answer because there are so many good products out there, which I love trying, and I'm usually pretty straightforward about if something doesn't work for me, and it might work for someone else. But I use a lot of good things, so it's really hard for me to say like, but this is the best. Nothing can compete with this. I do feel like the only product I can say I have not found anything that can compete with it is, drumroll please, that's sad, Kenra Volume 25 Hairspray. I've used it for over 15 years. It's the best hairspray. Anyone I'm around who hasn't used it before and is using it for the first time is like, oh, and I'm like, yeah. So that is the only product I feel comfortable saying cannot be beat at this time. But I'm not talking about hairspray in this video. I'm talking about curling irons. I have 4 curling irons in front of me, one super budget, and then one I think is a really good mid-range price. I do think you can justify the mid-range, and then 2 high-end. But I'm comparing the 4 of them. I'll just share quick tips about each of them, and there will be more information, links to all the products, all of that stuff in the blog post. And if you're watching this on YouTube, just click that link right below this video. So I'm starting with the least expensive curling iron of the bunch. This is a recent addition for me. It is the Conair Infinity Pro Rose Gold curling iron, and this is a 1.25 inch size. So rose gold barrel here. It has a clamp. All of these irons I'm talking about today have a clamp. We are not talking about wands. Wands do not have a clamp. I like a clamp. It holds all the hair together. It makes everything faster for me. So what I like about this iron is, first of all, it's $20, $19.99 to be exact. So it is cheap. It has a heat temperature dial on here, so you turn it on. So you have a huge variety of heat options here, all the way up to the number 30, which I believe, if I am remembering what the package said, is 400 degrees, but if I'm wrong on that, I'll just put some text right here and say what the actual highest temperature is. But you have from 0 to whatever that max temp is to choose from. And a lot of times that's my biggest tip I give people. If your hair is curling up way too much and you want some of those soft beachy waves, just turn the temperature down. You don't need to buy another iron, just turn the temperature down. So what I like about this iron is the temperature dial, and that's maybe about all. I will say the cord is really short. I did curl my hair with this iron today, and I found that the curls are falling out a little bit. So what that tells me is it is a $20 curling iron. It is not performing as well as the other curling irons that I'm about to talk about. So there is a difference. And I didn't want there to be. I really wanted this to be a great iron that could just hold its own against these more expensive ones, but $20 is gonna get you just a medium quality iron, I think. The cord's really short, so it's hard to work with. Like if this was something, if the curling iron was great and it was gonna start to be something I used on the regular, I would have to use an extension cord because I felt like I kept having to go closer to my outlet, and that's annoying. I also felt like the hair did not glide smoothly through the plates here. I had to sort of inch it around like that, which to me is a time waster, and also is giving you that kind of crimped look, if you've ever experienced that before. Whereas these other irons I've used from these next 3 I'm going to talk about, I never have to sort of work this section around. I can open it and just glide it through without it dragging, and then release the clamp, it'll hold, and then keep doing that. But I wasn't able to do that. I don't know if there's something about the plates here that just made it not as smooth. If you can only spend 20 bucks on a curling iron, this is a good one. It is a good size for the average hair length. It'll give you tighter curls if you turn the heat up, and then softer curls if you turn the heat down. 1.25 is just a good size to start with. 1 inch is going to give you little ringlets. Anything bigger is just going to give you soft curls. So the 1.25 gives you options, I think. So it is good for that. It's budget friendly. It'll get the job done. But it is not a great option that I could say with confidence, like, you'll love this iron forever, just because I was kind of disappointed in the performance with it. But You have to set your expectations realistically, and I feel like I did. So that is my feedback on this iron. So this is the cheapest of the bunch. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is the Babylist Nano Titanium Spring Curling Iron, also in 1.25 inch. This iron retails for $49.95 at Ulta. That's where I found that price. This is probably my most used iron in history. For a long time I used the GHD that I'll talk about, that's number 4. But gosh, the last couple of years this has been what I've returned to the most. It does have a heat dial on here as well. You can also push it in for turbo heat, which I never do. I usually have it live at between 21 and 28 here. I'm not exactly sure what temperature that is off the top of my head. And if I want tighter curls, I'll just turn it all the way up, or I've even turned it down a little bit lower for very, very soft curls. So I feel like you're able to get a good variety here, just like that Conair I just spoke about before. So on-off button is simple here. This cord is a little bit longer than that Conair cord. I've never felt like, ooh, this cord is short. I have to kind of lean over to get this side of my head because my outlet is on my left side. So good cord length. My hair glides through these plates so easily, it just saves so much time. And once you've used an iron where your hair glides through it, you realize like, oh, it's not a battle. It doesn't have to be. So I really love this iron. It does have a cool tip, just like the Conair. I forgot to say that. You can hold the ends of these and not burn your fingers. You're actually able to do that on all of these irons. And if that helps you kind of navigate, especially around your opposite side of your head that you're holding the iron on, that's a nice perk. So most reliable. I think this is the greatest iron you can get for the price. I mean, 50 bucks for an iron that'll last you a really long time, gives you lots of options with the variety of heat, and is reliable. This is a good starting iron. If you like doing your hair and you want to get better at curling your hair, you could spend $20 on one that you might have to fight with a little bit more, or $50 on one that I don't know what you'd have to fight with about this. I love this iron. Next up is the T3 Twirl Convertible. This is not the 1.25 attachment. This is, I think this is the 2-inch. I couldn't find my 1.25 attachment. It's either in my bathroom or it's up here in my closet, but I wanted to get this video up, so I just left this on here. So it does come with a 1.25 attachment. The special thing about this iron, it does have a heat dial on here. You just press the button on, press it once to turn it on, and then you double click and you can determine how hot the iron gets by where the light is on these 5 lights here. But what's cool about this iron, it does retail for $185 with the 1.25 attachment, but you have the option, you have the option to take it apart and get different attachments. So each attachment that you were to buy individually, so it doesn't come with this base, is $85. So you get one whole iron here for $185, and then let's say you bought the 1.25, that's the one that is $185, and you wanted to add a different barrel attachment, whether it's a wand or the inverted wand. There's so many options. You just have to buy the attachment. You don't have to buy the base at all. I love that idea. I actually thought of that idea years ago and was like, this is a good idea. And then I saw T3 was doing it and I was like, yes, that is genius, because this is the same in all the curling irons. You just need different attachments to get different curl patterns. The cord here is long. It does swivel around the base, so it makes it easy to use. You're not going to get tangled up or anything. My hair slides through these plates so easily as well. It does have a cool tip on the end so you can hold it if that helps you, if your hair's long or you have a lot of layers. Great, reliable curling iron. It is expensive, but it delivers serious results. I find that my curls will last longer when I use a T3 iron, no matter what the barrel, than when I use the Babylist. So in the dead heat of summer, I'm talking August, 100% humidity, over 100 degrees, I'm gonna go for this iron if I need my curls to last, because there's something about it that makes them last longer. And you're paying more for the iron, so they better. So this is a good high-end option for those of you that like to do a lot of different things with your curls or want the options of just being able to buy the attachments. It's fun. I've used almost all of them in different tutorials throughout the years, and it heats up really quickly. This is a great iron if you need an investment iron that you want to add those different attachments to. The last iron of the bunch is the GHD Soft Curve. This is also a 1.25 inch. It retails for $199. I actually thought the T3 was more expensive than this, so I was surprised to see this was a little bit more expensive. So the biggest difference between this iron and the rest of the three that I've spoken about is it just has an on-off button here, no heat dial. And I wish it did. This is a great iron. It gets hot, it gets the job done, it has a cool tip here, so you can hold that if you want to do that. Swivel cord as well, long cord so you're not fighting anything. All of the great qualities of a great iron, which it should have at $199, but you can't adjust the heat, and I wish you could. There's a chance they may have updated. I've had this iron forever, and I just didn't catch that, so I'll include links to all these irons in the blog post, of course, but I used this for a really long time, like I would say a year straight, back in 2011 or 2012, when curled hair was like first coming in from being stick straight for so long, and I loved the tight curls I could get with this. They never fell out, ever. I mean, no matter what the humidity, and part of that is because it was such a high heat setting, but it has a different barrel here. A lot of these other barrels are shiny. This one isn't, but your hair still glides through here really well. It's got a tight clamp. You need the clamp to be tight for your curling iron to be most effective. So if your clamp is loose and your hair is falling out of it, time to upgrade. Get a different iron. This one is nice and tight, so you can work the barrel around, and then as soon as you let go of it, it is gonna pinch that hair against the barrel to make sure you're getting a good consistent curl. So most expensive of the bunch, a great iron if you have super resistant hair. If you fight curling your hair at all and you're like, I am determined to have curled hair, this is the answer for you. You will have curled hair with this one. It gets hot, it's expensive, but it gets the job done. So it just all depends on what you're looking for. So I hope this was helpful for me to kind of chat through these 4 irons from $20 to $200 and explain what I like about each of them, what I don't like about some of them, although I don't think I said anything negative about the Babylist. I can't remember. And like I said, you can find links to all these irons in the blog post with more details, all of that stuff over there. It's kind of easier for me to type it out. So let me know if you have a favorite or if you use one of these 4. Or I would really love to hear from those of you who use the Conair, that $20 one, if you've had a good experience with it, because it could just be my hair type. Everyone's hair type is different. It just didn't work great for me, and I had to fight it a little bit, but I'd love to hear from those of you who had a good experience with it, or if you have another like $20, $30 curling iron that you would recommend, because I get a lot of requests for that. So I'm obviously looking for one that would be an option for people that are looking for something that's a little bit lower budget.